Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go! Well, everybody, welcome to Ballsy Uncut. However you're checking this out, wherever you're checking this out, I do appreciate you making time for me. It's great to talk sports with you and other things going on in the world, and we know there's lots going on in the world. Wow, crazy times. We are living through some crazy times. Let's stick to sports, though, here, okay? And we'll start by telling you that some NFL news going on, getting close to deciding with their new calendar year, free agency, and all that type of stuff. T. Higgins has been tagged by the Bengals, so the wide receiver for the second time in his career has been tagged by the Bengals. If they can't work out a contract, he will make $26.2 million this year. Chiefs offensive lineman Trey Smith has been tagged. Adam Schefter of ESPN reporting that Saquon Barkley's agreed to a 2-year, $41.2 million contract extension. His new pack guarantees him $36 million at signing, and he's got an opportunity to earn $15 million more through incentives and escalators. Quarterback Sam Darnold not tagged by the Vikings. They're going to continue to work on a longer-term deal. Receiver Davante Adams cut by the Jets. So the Jets getting rid of Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. Looks like I wouldn't be shocked if they just have to switch dressing rooms in their stadium there at the Meadowlands, because the Giants need some help at quarterback and at receiver too. So I wouldn't be surprised if those two teammates just flip dressing rooms and go to the Giants, although that's speculative on my part. CFL news. Did some digging around. I put out a tweet yesterday and on social media, all the social medias at Ballsy Uncut, that find it interesting that we are still looking for a commissioner, and there isn't much of, like, we haven't heard about a list. And so either the CFL is great at keeping secrets or nobody wants the job. Well, I did a little digging around. My sources telling me apparently that they have a pretty good list put together and hoping to have an announcement on a new commissioner in time for next month's CFL draft. Of course, Combine's coming up in less than 3 weeks here in Regina. And as a parent, I get a different look at the draft process this year and everything going on like that. So it's been an eye-opener in a few things with regards to the draft. And I'm just going to, still going to be Ballsy Uncut. I don't pull punches, as you know. And I found out recently that it's not easy. Well, I knew it wasn't easy, but when you don't pull punches, people can get upset. So I'm just going to bite my tongue for a while because my kid is in the middle of this draft process. But on the other side, as they go to training camp, I may have a few things to say on the CFL and their whole draft process. The Oilers, the Edmonton Oilers, get center Trent Frederick, this big, strapping, swift skating player who has been injured for the Boston Bruins. And depending who you talk to, he can play physical and bang and crash and fight, or if you're a disgruntled Bruins fan, plays like a teddy bear and doesn't fight. Anyway, Oilers get Trent Frederick and forward Max Jones. Bruins get a second-round pick in 2025 from the Blues that the Oilers had. Fourth-round pick in 2026, defenseman Max Wanner. And the Devils get the rights to forward Shane LaChance for retaining 50% of Frederick's salary. Bruins also taking some of the salary, so the Oilers can continue to try to bolster their lineup. It's win now for the Oilers. Stanley Cup or bust. So they're trying to get Frederick in the lineup. He is out right now with an injury. No word on when he'll be back or if he'll be back, maybe for the playoffs, I guess. And then he wouldn't count against the salary cap. So that's an interesting move from the Edmonton Oilers, who were rolling before the break, but had a 5-game losing skid. They finally ended that in Carolina the other night. But the Oilers got to get the ship righted here as they get towards the playoffs. Want to thank some of our sponsors, Ward Tirecraft, 101 Dudney Avenue in Regina. Also another one of my great sponsors, District Brewing, over on 8th Avenue with their Super Squeeze seltzers they unveiled last June. It'd be mango lime and passion fruit lime. They got the IPAs. They've got Pilsner and all their great products. You can check it out in every Saskatchewan liquor store and 8th Avenue. Like I said, thanks to them for getting on board. They sponsored my Grey Cup party at the end of the year. The shirts are done. I'll be picking them up tomorrow. The Our Balls Are Bigger post-game show shirts sponsored by Hammer Time Roofing in Saskatoon. For all your roofing needs, check them out, 262 Roof. And AGT Foods Canada, Murad Al-Khatib, Michelle Al-Khatib, and of course, Omar, Murad's brother, giving back to the community and feeding the world. Want to thank Murad for reaching out. Nice conversation we had this week, football related. Always nice to have his friendship and support. All right, going to take a break. On this podcast, I like to promote all sports, but I also like to talk, all sports. I didn't mention curling. Now, this is live here, but it's in tape form later, so the scores are going to be outdated. I won't give scores, but as I talk now, Mike McEwen, Saskatchewan Rink, leading Pool B with a 5-0 record. Rylan Kleidert, who won the province, is 2-2, so still faring well in his first Brier. Now, McEwen got in a wild card situation because of points. So if he wins the Brier, it doesn't technically count as a Saskatchewan Brier victory. So that kind of sucks. Manitoba guy playing for Saskatchewan. I'm a traditionalist. I don't mind change, but I don't like this 2 Saskatchewan teams, 3 Manitoba teams, 4 Alberta teams, and all the stuff we saw in the Scotties as well. I just like the traditional 1 team for 1 province. Not a big fan of that. But the Saskatchewan teams, the ones waving the Saskatchewan flags, are doing quite a good job right now at the Montana's Brier in Kelowna. Okay, where was I? Oh, yeah, on this podcast, I like to promote all sports, but I like to promote football. I like to get under the helmet and meet the different athletes. I've been asking to line up players getting ready for the Combine. Regina Ram players are they've decided not to be interviewed right now. They just want to focus on the Combine, or they could be upset with some of my recent comments. I'll talk about that before the show's done. Huskies haven't I haven't got any Huskies on the show. I'm hoping to do that before this podcast, before the Combine comes here, get some guys on. We got some dinos on, try to line up some Manitoba Bisons and such as well here on the podcast before the Combine in Regina. I like to go under the helmet, meet different athletes, different people. So we're going to chat with Dillon Mitchell. Spent 3 seasons, was drafted late round pick of the Minnesota Vikings. Spent a couple of seasons on practice rosters with the Vikings. Came up to Edmonton to play for the Elkimos for 3 seasons. Was released in the offseason with the change in regime, and he ends up in Winnipeg now. We'll talk to Dillon Mitchell from California on the show as we go under the helmet in our Profiles feature. And the Weyburn Red Wings having a solid season in the SJHL. If I had to pick right now, they'd probably be my SJHL team. Cody Mapes, friend of mine, head coach and GM, will join us too on this installment of Ballsy Uncut. We'll be back after this sponsor break. All right, here with the wide receiver of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Dillon Mitchell. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
Hey, so listen, is that surprise? I know you're signing Winnipeg. It's the nature of the business, but after 3 years in Edmonton and a really good year last year, your best year, I think, are you surprised for me to say Dillon Mitchell, Winnipeg Blue Bombers?
Yeah, I definitely would say that it's a little bit different for sure. Just not realizing what was going to happen this year. I feel like I've obviously landed in the best place I can be, and I think that kind of answering your question, no, it's still getting some used to.
Yeah. So what made Winnipeg the attractive choice for you after being released by the Elks?
I feel like Winnipeg was the most. I feel like they're the most put together organization in the CFL, and I think it's a lot of teams with a lot of successful, um, you know, for wins and having great cups. But I feel like Winnipeg separates themselves, and I feel like everybody in the league knows that, and I think that's something coming from Edmonton. Um, I've always wanted to be a part of, essentially.
Yeah, so when you come to places like Winnipeg and Saskatchewan, probably 1 and 1B in terms of fan support and love for the league. When you're an opposing player, I ask other guys this when they come to Regina. Have you ever thought about running out of that tunnel at Mosaic Stadium and being a Rough Rider? So for you, like you just kind of alluded to, going to Winnipeg at the stadium there, you're like, okay, maybe it would be great maybe to wear Blue Bomber colors one day.
Yeah, I never thought about it before because I always kind of had like this love and hate relationship with Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that just being able to be around there now, going up there for a period of time and seeing the fans, it's definitely a dream come true. Being able to now kind of be on the other side and being able to run out of Princess Auto Stadium.
So okay, let's talk about that. Love hate. What do you mean by like expand on that a bit? Love hate. You always had a love hate with the Blue Bombers. What was that about?
Pretty much. I mean, I've always kind of felt like I never could get past the hump of beating them. I think that's number one. And I think that just when you kind of watch, greatness, I believe that it kind of gets under your skin. And I feel like in Edmonton, it would get under my skin a lot how much, they were just able to hang around as a team and organization to stay in games and to just compete in the CFL as a, either the one or two team. So pretty much that.
So when you play a sport like this, you have to be an alpha dog. You have to have that drive, that fuel, that ego a bit, okay? And that's not negative. You have to. So I know you've got it. Other guys got it. People around the sport have it. So you hear this, well, football, like the sport of football is great. The business isn't so great. And a lot of people chalk up what happened to you in the offseason to business. But that's got to add some fuel to your fire, doesn't it? To say like, hey, I was a contributing member of your team. You didn't want me, even though there's a new regime, and I'm going to stick it to you.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel like you said, I think all players that want to hopefully be great and competitive, you should have that nature inside of you. I think it is a little bit different, just per se, just because like you said, I have grown to learn about the business a lot more, and just like kind of everybody else knows personally, I'm not really familiar with those guys over there. So like, I do believe that, Edmonton as a city in whole, it was more hurtful in that aspect. But just seeing the new, like you said, the new regime over there, definitely wanting to show exactly why Edmonton had me in the first place. So definitely wanted to do that.
So you weren't like Edmonton used to be a powerhouse. It was a tough place to come play. I'm sure you've heard about that. It wasn't, had your struggles when you were there, and it's been a struggle there for a while. They're trying to get fans back. But how excited as a player are you to go to a place where it matters, where the fans sell out the stadium, where when you're there, just even the way the stadium's constructed, it is the loudest stadium in the league.
No, absolutely. I'm more than excited. I feel like that's why I said when I went to Winnipeg just to do a couple of the interviews and see some of the people just for the small amount of time, just the huge difference in between how much, they care about football, versus how it was in Edmonton. I think that, any player would be, grateful and, lucky to be around fans like that. And I think, just going up there and, now I've been inside that stadium. I'm more than happy now to be on the other side to where they're cheering for me now. So, for sure.
No, I don't want to make this political. I like Americans, okay? And I'm sure you like Canadians, but we know what's going on with the tariffs and everything, people booing each other's anthems.
Yeah.
I want your thoughts, though, on being an American playing in the Canadian Football League and what that experience has been like for you so far.
I would more so say my experience in the Canadian Football League has been very welcoming. I feel like that I've always taken strides to understand how grateful I am to be playing in the league. I think that we definitely get some flack for being some American players, but I don't to feel like that's an overall, kind of gist of everything that goes on in the CFL. I feel like I've received a ton of support and love while playing in the CFL, and I think that that's something that Canadian football and Canadian fans have, I feel like done a great job, especially with the American players and for myself as well.
Yeah, and I like the American players. Love the Canadian players, love the ratio because it gives a chance for Canadian players to play in our homegrown league, but definitely Americans bring a star factor to the league. And it's a second chance league, isn't it, Dillon? Like you were drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, stuck around there on the practice squad for a bit, and then you come to the CFL. So do you view it as like kind of a second chance league and just the quality of football? I want to comment on that.
I don't. I probably won't look at it as a second chance league. I think that you can receive a second chance out of it for sure. For sure. I think just getting to know me, I'm kind of so in a grateful spot of being able to play. I don't look at it that way. A lot of people kind of know my story or somewhat with football. So just me knowing, I think that my opportunity and what I was blessed with, I kind of look at CFL as my main goal and my main thing. And like I said, and what we kind of just spoke about, I've been absolutely in love with the CFL and the fans and just the environment. And I think, like I said, for me, it's my league. So I'm completely grateful with that.
I'd love to see more teams in the league. I think you would too. A lot of people would. It comes to economics. Canada not as big as the United States, but on the other side, do you like the smallish nature of the league where everybody knows everybody, kind of, right? I mean, you'll play the same team 3 times or 4 times. I know it can get monotonous, but it's also kind of cool that it is kind of a small league.
Yeah, no, I think when I first originally got to the CFL, I think it was weird for me just to see how close everybody kind of knew each other. And once we were in the game and see each other. But I think once I started to play enough games, I realized that it was special. To seeing the guys, how we know each other and being able to play each other more than twice a year. And, I think that it does bring a certain type of uniqueness to the CFL for sure.
You talked about the Grey Cup. You didn't grow up wanting to be a CFL player. You grew up wanting to be an NFL player. Nobody could fault you for that. And you first get here and you don't. I'm not speaking for you. You can change my wording, but a lot of guys I've talked to, they come up here. They think they're going to come up here and maybe earn a spot back there in the NFL, and they don't really. I don't know if they really get into the tradition of the league or what the Grey Cup means. Where does your view of the league that way sit compared to when you first got into the CFL?
I think when I first got to the CFL, I think the Grey Cup, I want to say it meant something to me, but to be on a, realistic point, it was far out of Edmonton's reach. So I definitely didn't put as much emphasis on the Grey Cup versus something like the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But me being here for going on 4 years now, I think that numbers-wise, statistics-wise, and I think that the NFL versus, the Super Bowl versus the Grey Cup, it might look different, but I feel like being in Canada now and for Canadian fans, it's the world to us. And I think that it's definitely grown on me so much to where I tuned in last year. I tuned in the year before. But that's why I care now. So that's why I be looking in. So it's great. That is great.
So you join a team where it looks like the Grey Cup's just another game on the schedule. They've been to 5, right? So, and hopefully for your sake, they can make it 6 with that big, you're smiling like a butcher's dog there. So you want that to happen. But did you notice that championship mentality when you first got to Winnipeg as a member of the Blue Bombers after the signing? Like, is there a vibe that permeates that building and that headquarters there?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like everybody from people in the team store who I met, who were great people, great ladies, everybody as far as from football, from the, financial side, just the team side, and, getting me there, just watching the whole process, I definitely felt like why I could understand why they continuously go to Grey Cups and are continuously in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. So you said this is my league now. I like that. Like you said, this is my league. I treat this like my league. So I'm going to ask you a question that's maybe you can or can't answer. In your opinion, what's the better game, the 3-down game or the 4-down game with all our rules and stuff? I'm not talking the level of athlete. I'm talking, and take the money aside, because I've always said this, Dillon. If Dillon Mitchell had another zero behind his paycheck, he'd love it. but it would legitimize more stupidly, but it would legitimize Dillon Mitchell's talent level in a lot of fans' eyes if he had another zero, meaning they look at the dollars and all that stuff of the NFL, where I think Dillon Mitchell is just as good as probably a lot of NFL receivers. But where I'm going with this is, take all of that aside. What's the better game? The Canadian game with all our rules, the unlimited motion and everything like that, or the American game?
Based off of my preference, I probably would choose the CFL game just because I appreciate the waggling, the motion, the especially as an offensive player, the bigger field, the bigger end zone. I think that for especially me as a receiver, I think that I appreciate the CFL game, and I like the CFL game a little more. I think I've talked to a couple of guys that play in the CFL who are American. Usually, the only thing that I've ever heard has been the 4 downs. It's just the one extra down to give you one extra chance. And I'm somebody that's kind of up for a lot of competition. So like trying to get it done in 3 is just extra competition for me. So like it doesn't really mean that much to me. But I think based off of kind of what I said, I think the CFL game is a lot more entertaining.
Yeah. And what about the 57-3? It's a 57-minute game and a 3-minute game. How fast did that come upon you? Were like, holy cow! You could, like in the NFL, if you don't have 3 timeouts and there's 2:40 left, you got the 2-minute warning, and then that's it. The game's over. They can kneel it down. Yeah. In the CFL, you could legitimately score 3 touchdowns in 3 minutes.
You're right. I think, and I want to bring up because I believe you might have been tuned in for sure. When we played, it was maybe 2 years ago. Edmonton we played SAS, and we lost on the Roosh punt. On the Roosh. Is that
I broadcast that game for the Riders, and that was the one where Sims, it went over his head, and he didn't. I was yelling I said, "What is he doing? He's got to bring it out." Take me through that play. Did you know what was going? Like, he didn't know what was going on, or what? What the heck's the problem there?
Yeah, there was a lot of miscommunication. His part on the sideline and him being a rookie, it was a lot of miscommunication. Definitely on that part. And that was my first experience going through that roost. I'd never seen that before. So just like kind of bringing up with like what you were just talking about, watching how every second matters in the CFL all the way down, like seeing how the game can easily be flipped. I think it was an eye-opener, and I think that's why a big part of the CFL, why I kind of enjoy it, because all the way up until the last second, literally, the game can change.
Well, and this is what I meant by second chance, and I didn't mean that to be negative, but what I meant is, like, look at our league. I'll say our league because you said it's your league too. So look at our league. You're not only a receiver, but you're a kick returner and a punt returner. In the NFL, they're taking the kicking away. I love the fact in our game, you have to do something with the ball almost all the time. I love that. And it gives punt returners and kick returners who aren't receivers like yourself a chance to go play somewhere else. Because a lot of those guys are being extracted from football now, sadly. Like, I like our kicking rules.
No. I definitely do. I think that, with a lot of other like politics, I think the NFL was forced to do something for sure. But now, like you said, I completely agree. I think it brings another excitement to the game, and it just kind of got taken away. So definitely, especially with me being a punt returner, kick returner, for sure. Like I think, like I said, the CFL game, like you can make a name for yourself in that space.
Yeah. So you grew up. Who's your favorite athlete when you were growing up?
I probably would say I probably would say Reggie Bush.
Okay. Yeah. Reggie Bush was what did you like best about his game?
I tried to implement a lot of. I thought Reggie Bush did a lot of juking I thought he did a lot of making people miss. So that's what was probably the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm. Were you always a football guy, or did you play other sports?
I played basketball for a
Yeah.
while. Yeah, I played basketball for a while. A lot of people um, don't, or either they do know I played or they don't know I played.
Okay. Where'd you play? Sorry, help me out. I didn't
No,
realize that.
I played AAU basketball
Okay.
for the War Eagles, which I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got older, eventually I played for Penny Hardaway's team. You know,
Oh yeah.
Team Penny.
Okay.
His name was yeah. So I played on Team Penny for about 6 years, about like 5 or 6 years before I ended up making the decision to play football. But um, that was one of the things like going into leaving out of high school. That was kind of on my plate when before I went to Oregon. I was going to play basketball and football. Just end up talking to a couple people and realizing that it was best that I stick to one thing and not try to, overload myself. But yeah,
Mm.
I played basketball for a while. A lot of people, especially with Edmonton this past year, thought it was really, really funny learning about my basketball background. When I'm trying to think, during the period of time when I was leaving my high school year, I ended up playing some high school team that we had out of town. Didn't know that John Calipari was there. Ended up playing well and ended up receiving at the time an offer from Kentucky. So
Wow.
that's yeah. So it's a small bit of a little background, and that I used to play a little bit, but I received a lot of flack from it in
So
my past year at Edmonton.
so when I was doing the Rider broadcast at the training camp in Saskatoon, they had a basketball hoop out there, and guys would shoot after practice if they still had any energy. Did you have that in Edmonton or maybe in Winnipeg where you could side hustle some guys? Like, no, I'm no good at basketball, and then win some money in horse or something like that?
Yeah, Edmonton a couple times. A lot of people would assume that I couldn't play that well, or they just wanted to try. So that was a problem. That probably was it.
Well, I always joke CFL stands for cash flow low. So Americans, you have to get a side hustle, man, here because you're getting paid in Canadian. That's the one thing about the CFL that sucks for you as an American because the Canadian dollar is not as strong as the American dollar. So you kind of are playing for the love of the game almost, aren't you? Because you're
Yeah,
not
no,
getting
for
rich.
sure. Yeah, not for sure about that. Yeah, I think that that was something that I realized once I even got here that it was it started not to be the biggest thing to me. Just trying to figure out, and I think I said this in an interview in Winnipeg. Just trying to figure out other a big part of my life, trying to figure out other financial things, to make
Mm,
that make my dollar stretch. So yeah, no,
yeah.
I think yeah, like you said, definitely playing in the CFL is like you said, that by that other zero at the end, oh for sure. I mean, yeah, who wouldn't be
Yeah.
happier
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I see you got boxing gloves there. I've boxed 4 times in my life. Have you boxed in a match or anything like that?
in a match? No, never a match. Only sparring.
Yeah. And how do you like boxing? Do you like that? Do you like that? It's all on you. Like team sports, it's on you can if you want to, you can blame the quarterback or the lineman or the defense. In boxing, fuck man, you can't. You're in there and you sometimes are waiting for that bell to ring. Like I'm tired.
Yeah, no, I probably would say yeah. I'm more of a team sport person, yeah, because
Yeah.
the moment, once everything kind of leaves in boxing, my mechanics, I'm looking for the next person to blame, yeah, because
Mm.
it's not that, yeah, boxing is definitely a little bit more, it's a little bit more strenuous than I thought it was going to be. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's about it.
You
Yeah,
got to be a good athlete. Okay, by the way, Penny Hardaway, your favorite basketball player of all time?
yes, and he probably would get mad if I don't say it. So yes,
Okay. Okay. Are you still friends with him?
yeah, yeah, really
Awesome.
good friends. Yeah, really good friends.
Where is he now, Penny?
Right now, I just coaching in Memphis. Other than that, yeah, I think I'm probably doing his own thing. But yeah, as
Yeah.
regarding that, Memphis,
Nice. Yeah. You're in California right now. Were you a Kobe guy or a Shaq guy?
I'm a Kobe guy.
Yeah, me too. I believe Kobe's a top 5 player of all time, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah. I think people who don't consider him top five, are usually Kobe haters or they're big LeBron fans. So however it goes,
Yeah. Yeah. Is Michael Jordan the best of all time or LeBron?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Michael Jordan.
Yeah, me too.
My dad was a Michael Jordan fan, so like I can't. I've heard so many stories that I can't go against that.
I do think though Anthony Penny Hardaway was one of the most underrated players. I don't mean you to blow smoke up his butt, but I do believe he was one of the more underrated players in the NBA for his like window that he played.
Yeah, no, I remember we even because I was with him when I was really young, young in age, and just even from hearing other people talk about him while being around him, I could see that, a lot of, if it wasn't for certain things to get in the way, he was definitely going to be one of the top players of all time for sure. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to let you go on two questions here. Number one, what do you got to do to take what do you want to see in your game to take it to the next level? Is there something you've identified that you want to kind of tinker with a little bit? Because if you're not getting better, you're stagnant and then you're dying. So what do you want to do with your game here this year with Winnipeg?
I think, me personally, I want to, and I'm not sure how to exactly say that. I feel like as a leader, I want to command the field a little bit more of just being in a place of somebody like a Nick Dembski, a Geno Lewis, the guys that I've been around, and what I'm saying, especially like Kenny Law. Like I've been around a lot of great receivers. I feel like that is with Zach and with Willie, like a lot of the guys who talk to me and who've helped me able to come to Winnipeg, I just want to step into a place to where, I become one of those guys that's like Brady Oliveira and I'm dominating. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. And lastly, you talked about stretching your dollar. What do you do away from the field to earn money, or what do you plan to do once football's done, Dillon?
As of right now, like once football is done, I run trying to think. I'm sorry. A business as far as I don't know if you ever heard of Turo.
Yep.
Yeah, a car rental business. So I got two cars on there. As far as probably off after football, I'm more looking to. I've only done a couple of auditions, but I'm probably looking more forward to get into acting. I had a couple people who wanted to see me do that. So, like, that's probably going to be my next move. I've done a couple of little small things, so hopefully taking it to the next level.
My favorite actor of all time, and it's not even up for debate, is Denzel Washington. Who's your guy?
Are you for real?
Yeah, Denzel's my favorite guy. Not even close. Who's your guy?
At least we can leave off on having the same thing. Now I feel like you made me happy with that. Yeah. That's my favorite actor. If it's if it's not him, then it's probably gonna be like Leonardo DiCaprio or something. But Denzel's my favorite.
Yeah, you know what I like about Denzel, other than his great roles and the way he is just dynamic. I like how he doesn't weigh into any of the political BS. Like he just is an actor, and we're in such a divided world now. I just want to turn on a game or turn on my TV and just not even think about what that guy is outside. Yeah. Okay, I can respect other people's views, but I just like Denzel for that too.
Now you're right about that. I feel like I definitely get that from him. Yeah. No.
What's your favorite movie that he's done? Can you think of one off the top of your head?
Yeah, no, I can't. It's probably just hard. I want to.
He's had so many. Remember the Titans. He's had. I like all the Equalizers. I like obviously Training Day's my favorite one. Like there's been so many great ones with him.
See, I was going to say, look, we're just on the same page. I'm gonna have to say Training Day.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I love that, man. I love that. Anyway, hey, man, I'm looking for, by the way, are you wearing this? What number are you wearing in Winnipeg?
Supposed to be number 13.
13? Okay, yeah, because you were, 17 in Edmonton?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. 13 in Winnipeg. That's good, man. That's good. I can't wait to watch number 13. And I love 13. 13's unlucky, but you're going to make it lucky this year, right, man?
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Dillon. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me, Margaret.
Big Cheese and Weyburn. Cody Mapes joining me here. How you doing, bud?
Good, Ballsy. How you doing?
Good. You guys, I mustn't have screwed up the dinner because you guys have invited me back in October, so I'm looking forward to that.
You were the star of the show, buddy.
Well, I don't know about that. That was fun though with Roenick. Wasn't it cool to have him in there right before he went into the Hockey Hall of Fame?
It was really cool to kind of get a little tidbit of what he was going to talk about at his Hall of Fame speech and stuff like that. And it's funny, you have a perception of a guy, without meeting him. Then you meet him in person, and he's a 10 out of 10, man. Like, it was the way he treated our guys and our staff and everything was unbelievable.
So let's talk about that. The dinner, just in general, I think it went better than a lot of people maybe initially expected. It's back. You're going to do it again. How important are things like that to the bottom line of this team?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, we came out of it very, very good, but at the end of the day, we do want to be able to provide different kinds of entertainment to the community, I guess, as well. Obviously, hockey is our thing, but we've got a great golf tournament, and if we can add something like this, whether it's every year or every second year, whatever it is, I think that it's very important, and it kind of hits different people in the community. Like, there was a lot of women that weren't real excited about coming, and they'd say they won't miss it again. They said that Ballsy as the MC, we didn't know, and so we're going to come back every year. And so it was no, it's been really good though. We're excited about it again this year, and the board members that planned it, I know, are really excited about it too.
One of the first times women have been happy to be around Ballsy. Thanks for the shot to the ego. I like that. Hey, I hung around with your team a little bit during that night. Obviously, not enough to gain a whole sense of what they're about. But did you know right away for them? And I know you've made some moves and tinkered some things as we've gone along this year. But for the most part, did you know right away that you'd have a pretty good group of guys? Because right now you guys are first in your division, third overall.
Yeah, you know what? Like, we really didn't waver on it when we started. People got to remember we started 0-4. And somebody asked me, and I said, I think this might be the best 0-4 team that I've seen in my 6 years in the league. And we kind of knew we had some reinforcements coming back from a couple other leagues, and we were real close in those first 4 games, and so we just kind of stuck with it. And we are where we wanted to be. We've gone through our ups and downs. Luckily, big picture, our ups have been better than our downs, and we're going to kind of continue. We're just kind of coming out of a little bit of a slump here in February, but the turn of the calendar seems to be good for us here. We've had a couple good skates here, and we're excited to get back to it here.
So, strength of this team, if you were to pinpoint, what's the strength of this hockey team right now?
Well, it's funny. Like, we've always talked about our goaltending being good, and our goaltending's been great all year. Seems to be no matter who's in net, they've played very well for us. We thought that our high end scoring was going to be very prevalent and really kind of push us through, and it's been our depth that has carried us lots of the year. We do have some high end offensive guys, but at the end of the day, when things get tighter down the stretch here, your middle 6 guys, your fourth line guys, when they chip in, it makes a huge difference. And when we've won lately, it's been all 4 lines that have been contributing, and just a steady back end. We've got great depth on the back end. I think we've got a number 1 guy, but then we definitely have, like, probably 4 or 5 middle 6 guys. So, or middle pair guys, I should say.
Yeah. So talk about a couple of those guys, depth scores that, maybe you didn't expect to light the lamp. You knew they were decent players, but they've chipped in more offensively than you thought.
Well, you know what? You have a guy like our captain come in, and he's never been a high-end offensive guy. He starts the new year with a 12-game point streak, and the team goes 11-1 or whatever it was. We add a guy like Josh Sale at the deadline, comes in, has unbelievable habits. He's a workhorse, goes to the net, forechecks hard, chips in every once in a while. And then we've got our guys from that were 18 last year that are kind of coming into their own here as 19-year-olds now, like a Lucas Schmidt or Josh Carman, and these guys, they're chipping in where they can, but the effect they have on the game goes way deeper than just the score sheet, and they're relied upon in some important areas, and so that's kind of where our depth has really taken over.
Does your mom, Becky, come watch you? I know her. She's a friend of mine. Does she come watch you? And do you feel any more pressure when mom's in the crowd?
She does. She always knows the right thing to say after a tough loss. Usually
Yeah.
it's what happened. Thanks, Mom.
That is hilarious, man. The playoffs, 1 versus 8, 2 versus, like, you're number 3 right now. Do you like that setup? Is that because you're first in your division, you'd be third in the playoffs. You can only go with the cards you're dealt, but is that advantageous for you, or would you like to see a different type of format?
Well, honestly, it's the only format I've known here. There's always conversations about going north and south or divisions or whatever. You know what? You gotta win 3 rounds. The league is very much going to go through Melfort and Flin Flon. Whatever way the highway takes you, that's the way you go. And we've had great playoff series, 2 years ago against an unbelievable Battleford team, against a really good Humboldt team last year. And, I think we've gained a lot of experience over that stuff. And so, I think we've learned that you just got to go and take care of business and deal with the cards that you're dealt and see where the first round takes you and go from there.
No, it has nothing to do with you, but it does affect you. I would assume the Weyburn Red Wings aren't as happy as some others to see Notre Dame go to Warman. Just your thoughts on that move, because it's going to affect you guys travel and budget wise.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely a big hit to the budget. I do think that for hockey in Saskatchewan, it's probably a good move. I mean, as an alumni myself, it's sad to see him go. But I think that for them to get back to where they want to go with their AAA program and stuff like that, it wasn't that long ago their AAA program was best in the country, and so I think they kind of want to get back to that. And Warman's been unbelievable whenever they've hosted us for showcases and stuff like that. They deserve a team, and they'll be a great host, and they'll be competitive a lot sooner than not. And so, I'm excited for the league to get a little bit better. Not excited to balance the budget a little differently.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey,
Balances itself, though, I hear.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, it balances itself. That's what the government says, anyways, right? That's how it goes. Yeah, trust what the government says for sure. Hey, what is this for you? Year 4 now?
Yeah, this is the end of my fourth season as head coach and GM.
So are you feeling comfortable? Are you hitting your stride? Is the game, you always talk to players, is the game slowed down? Like, for you, how do you feel in this role now?
Yeah, I think you have a better handle on, what to do in certain situations and stuff like that. But it's funny, we were just talking as a staff, and you think that, you're 4 years in and yeah, you'll learn more here and there. And it seems like this year, just as much as last year, just as much as the year before, you learn as you go. And, as the players are changing, the personalities are changing. It's definitely, this is the most interesting group I've probably coached, so high end at times and so different at times. And so, just learning how to get through the highs and lows with each group has been interesting. And I think as you come across different personalities and different people, it just kind of adds to your toolbox that you have for the years in the future. And so, I know that I'm a better coach than I was a month ago and definitely 4 years ago, but there's still a lot of learning going on every day.
Hey, Cody, I do morning sports in Assiniboia. So we talked about Notre Dame and the fact that, they played a few neutral site games themselves, and you kind of were forced into some neutral site games out in Assiniboia because of problems with your rink. Just a comment on that facility out there.
Oh yeah, the facility is unbelievable. Our guys didn't. I'm not sure our guys wanted to come back at times because they kind of had free reign on the golf simulator. They had free reign in the video game room, and so it was. We were treated very, very well. Curtis Nelson there of Nelson Motors and Stephanie Vandesype, who I think runs the town there, the recreational side of everything, and they were unbelievable hosts to us. Like I said, the facility's unbelievable. They rearranged everything for us, gave us our own room, all that stuff, and if we ever had to do it again, I would not be concerned about how things were going to go there. They were so good to us.
Okay. Lastly, we've got about just a little over 2 weeks till the playoffs start. You'll be in the playoffs, just determining where you're going to end up. What is the goal for your staff here as you fine tune things for the playoffs? Like, what are you concentrating on?
You know what? I think it's just about good habits on and off the ice. You want to make sure that through the last 6 games here that you remain competitive top to bottom, like in practice, in games. You got to make sure that those aren't habits that you can just turn on and off. We want to make sure that we practice the right way, and then we're taking care of ourselves off the ice. It's we've got kind of a funny schedule here over the last week and moving forward here where we've got a few good little breaks, and so making sure that you just make good deposits every day. Go even little stuff like going to bed on time and eating well, stuff like that. Like we got to make sure that we take care of our bodies here. We're starting to get healthy. We haven't really been healthy all year. And so we're starting to get healthy here. We just want to make sure that we give ourselves the best chance.
It's funny you say that. You haven't been healthy all year, yet you're sitting pretty in a pretty good standing. That's a testament to your guys and what your staff has done.
For sure. Like our guys have been unbelievable with the amount of different line combinations and power play units and penalty kill partners that we've had. And our guys have been very good with the whole next up mentality. And you know what? I think there's a couple teams in our league. I think the 2 teams ahead of us have kind of gone through the same things. They've had, major injuries to guys that are huge impact guys for them. And, we've kind of taken a page out of, last year's Melford's team where they had injury problems and it was just, hey, next man up. And, when everybody plays the same way and plays with passion and stuff, it's, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's manageable.
Hey, are you going to grow a playoff beard or what? Have you started there or what?
Yeah, maybe. This mustache is still from November, so.
Hey, man, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. Best of luck in the playoffs.
Thanks, Ballsy.
Thank a couple more sponsors. Paul Waldo at Royal LePage getting the real estate game with the 3-time Grey Cup champ, 306-502-5355. Gerhard Studios, Nicole and Dean for getting involved and helping me with my social media and my website. Ballsy Uncut on X, Facebook, YouTube, also an Instagram account, and ballsyuncut.ca is the website. But thanks to Gerhard Studios. And a big thank you also going out to Boys Next Door window cleaning, snow removal, and the track lighting. That window cleaning's coming up quick, though. That's great. A sign of the times as spring not that far away. Give Nathan and Landon a call. All right, so coming up, I think Thursday's when I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to be talking with former Ram player BK Waldo. So in the last 2 installments ago, I had talked about the Rams program and what went on with a couple of their players, Michael Jordan and Tarek Polius, who are facing a number of charges, drug, weapons offenses, stolen vehicles, allegedly, as part of a big-time drug bust in Regina. 75,000 doses of fentanyl. And you can go back a couple of installments ago to, I put a post, took a post from that installment, the last installment, and put it on Ballsy Uncut, X, Facebook, YouTube, a gospel according to Ballsy. And I was talking about how I think Mark McConkey, the head coach, is a great man, classy guy. I have nothing but good things to say about him. I have nothing bad to say about any of the coaches. I am a proud member of the Rams alumni and have done a lot. I stand on my 30 years in media promoting football at all levels in Canada, but specifically in this province of Saskatchewan, and the Rams are at the top of that list. In fact, get your dinner tickets for their dinner coming up here in March as John Randall comes to town, the Minnesota Vikings great Hall of Famer. He's going to be the featured guest speaker. But I found, I had mentioned the fact that the Rams and the Huskies, and the same would be said for the Hilltops and the Thunder. When you go outside the province, you need to vet to make sure the people you are bringing in are up to standards when it comes to your program. Now, my sources have told me that Mark McConkey and his staff did vet and do a dive into the background of Polius and Jordan, the two aforementioned players who are in trouble with the law and face some serious charges and are looking at some serious jail time. And so I can only go on what I've been told. And if that's the case, okay, they took a chance on these guys and it didn't work out. And I can't blame anybody with the Rams for, like, these kids make their own choices. That wasn't my point. My point was we've got Saskatchewan kids here. You need to do all you can to have Saskatchewan kids here. It's not like Saskatchewan kids have problems too. That's not what I'm saying. But like I said, when you go to like Toronto, and those kids were from Ontario, then went out to the BCFC. When you get these guys, you have to ask yourself, why are we getting them here? Like, why isn't Polius, for instance, why isn't he a guy on the radar of all the schools in Southern Ontario? And I was told that he was never an all-star, never a high-ranking player, so that's maybe why he slipped through the cracks. Fair enough. Now, in my defense, I personally had heard of those kids and some of the things that, let's put it this way. I heard they weren't choir boys in a previous life. I heard it right after this went down, and I actually heard it a while ago too, before it went down. So I had heard about it, okay? Not to the extent of any of this stuff that we're talking about in Regina, okay? But I've been told the only thing that really the Ram coaches kind of found out was that maybe struggle in school, maybe a couple of anger issues for some of these guys, and that a change of scenery would do them good. And in fairness to the Rams, they have helped a lot of kids over the years. A lot of my friends who ran in trouble with the law locally played on the Rams, and the Rams program did a lot to help them and turn their life around. The former counselor, Terry Hinks, God rest his soul, would say the same thing. So the Rams program has a track record of helping kids out and turning situations around. So I'll give the Rams that at 100%. My point was, though, you got to vet. So in this case, they say they vetted, but it was a big swing and a miss. In no way do I think the Rams football program should go away. In no way do I think they should be penalized. These guys, but in no way should we sweep it under the rug, which some people came at me, both on social media and behind the scenes, that I don't understand what these kids are going through. And I don't no. I'm not condoning. When we're talking 75,000 doses of fentanyl, I am not condoning that. I am not sweeping that under the rug. I'm not. And hey, wait, and let me be clear about this. Nobody from the Rams organization has talked to me. Okay, I'm talking about some alumni people, like some players, some guys I played with and stuff. Nobody with any power are saying I did anything wrong, or they're mad that I did anything wrong, but they're just upset for me stoking the fires, I guess, a bit. I am stoking the fires. This is my community. I didn't like how it went down. I don't like 75,000 doses of fentanyl being in my town. Okay? So I'm not going to back down from that. But I'm also not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say the Rams are a horrible program. No. The Rams are a great program. They do lots in the community. They do way more good than bad that happens in the community, okay? Firefighters, doctors, lawyers, electricians, radio announcers, former radio announcers, podcasters, car salesmen, people at Ranchero. Lots of people have come from the Rams program and help out in this community. So let's not just take one incident or two incidents or whatever over the course of many, many years and say, oh, that's a terrible program. And it's not just a Ram problem. There have been problems at other universities, and there will be problems in other sporting programs and hockey, football going on from here to kingdom come. Problem is a lot of these universities, just in general, they look for excuses to dump programs and to cut programs and to say we're done with these guys. And in no way am I saying the Rams should be done. What a great program it's been, producing CFL, NFL players, and like I said, a lot of community leaders. But I'm not backing down from my comments. That was a big miss by the Rams. And they know it. I don't have to tell them. That was a huge miss. That's a terrible thing. I am not going to condone these kids. They're 20-some years old. They're not 14, okay? They're not 14. You do the crime. You're going to have to face the consequences. Hopefully they can get some counseling, and I'm all for second chances. But no, that I'm not sweeping that under the rug. And I brought it up because nobody was talking about it. Nobody in the media had the balls to talk about it. That's why it's Ballsy Uncut. I'm going to talk about these things. I don't care if I played for the team. I don't care if I was a former broadcaster of the team. Huskies, Rams, Hilltops, Thunder, hockey teams, I don't care. Good or bad, I'm going to talk about it. So I'm not going to apologize for that. But having said that, I learned a couple of things. And not just with this, with other things when I talk here in this forum. People are your friends. They call you friends till you say something that hits home, and then all of a sudden you're not a good guy. You're not a good guy. You're a racist. Somebody called me a racist. He knows who he is. If you go back on the forum, you can see it. I never deleted anything. It's either at Ballsy Uncut or it's on my own personal Facebook page. Racial undertones. I don't care if you're black, white, green, brown, yellow, blue. I could give a shit. I do not want cocaine, fentanyl, guns, theft, all this stuff in my community. Okay? And I'm not condoning it. And I'm not sweeping it under the rug. So it has nothing to do with race. The one good thing about today's world now in the last 2 months, there's a lot that's not good with how things are going between Canada and the U.S. But one good thing that's happened is this one bozo comes on and calls me a racist or alludes to me being a racist. And he got tamped down pretty quickly. A, because I'm not a racist. Anybody with half a brain knows that. And number two, the cancel culture died pretty fast. That's what I like. It's been tamped down pretty fast. Okay? Because a couple of years ago, everybody would have been on that train. So, anyway, I'm going to have BK Waldo, Paul's brother, join me this week. And we're just going to chat about a couple of different perspectives maybe on what I was saying. And he's going to bring his opinion. I'm going to bring my opinion. And it's good to get out there and talk. That's why I did it. I want to talk. I want people to talk about this situation. I'm not anti-Rams. I'm just telling you. Saskatchewan kids, we've got great football players. Do all you can to fill your team with Saskatchewan players here in the province. If you have to go outside, which I understand the Rams have to, which I said in the initial gospel, because they're a small market school in the prairies. They're undergraduate. They have to go outside. But before you get really desperate to get a difference maker, a game changer, you have to make sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. I think there's no getting around it. It was a swing and a miss, unfortunately, as it relates to these two guys. Anyway, BK and I on the next installment, along with Gene Principe from Rogers Sportsnet, our Behind the Glass feature. He's going to join us regularly. That and much more. Thanks for checking it out. I do appreciate it.